Hey, Andy here from 2 Minute Tech Tutorials. In this short course designed for beginner users of Microsoft Word, but hopefully also useful to users who have been using it for a while, we are going to take a look at basic text editing within Microsoft Word. Now, although I have captured this using Word for Mac, if you are a Windows user, you'll still be able to follow along with this tutorial and be able to do everything that I am going to cover in this tutorial. It's just that some of the options may appear slightly different in terms of their position in the ribbon or the quick command, but generally speaking, everything I'm going to show you in this particular tutorial, you'll be able to do on both operating systems. Now, we're going to take a look at three main things in this tutorial. So first of all, we're going to begin looking at adding text to your document, so how to insert text, and then how to edit and reposition that text. Then from that section, we'll move on to another section looking at selecting, cutting, copying, and pasting text within your document. So I'll talk about the quick commands that you can use on your keyboard, and we'll delve a little deeper into what the various pasting options are, and of course what they mean for you and your document. And then we'll finish up looking at how to find text quickly within your document, but even more importantly, how to find and replace text within your document. So quite a lot to cover, but hopefully you'll find this particular tutorial useful. Now, if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing and supporting the channel. And if you're a returning user and you've not yet subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. Of course, if you find this video to be useful, please do give it a like and feel free to share it with anyone who you think could benefit from watching this particular video. If there's anything you think that I've missed or we could share with other people, then please do leave a comment in the video to let me know. Anyway, let's begin the tutorial by looking at adding text in your document, editing that text, and repositioning it. I've got a document set up here. It's just got a mixture of paragraphs of text, images. Some of the text paragraphs like this one are using the default normal style. Some of them are using heading styles like, for example, this one or this one. But generally speaking, it's a fairly straightforward document. Now, I'm going to start at the very beginning, looking at how you can add text and then how you can basically change and reposition the text and replace text and do things like that. So first of all, if you want to insert a piece of text into this Microsoft Word document, all you need to do is position the cursor at the point where you want to add the text. Let's say, for example, here. It will then flash and then you can type your text. So if I type, the text goes there. So that's how you add text in a kind of normal way. But if you want to replace a piece of text within a Microsoft Word document, normally what users will do is make a selection like this over the text that they want to replace. They'll then press the delete or the backspace key like this and then type. But there's nothing wrong with that. However, you can save yourself a little bit of time because actually all you need to do is make a selection over the text that you want to replace and then you just type and Microsoft Word will automatically remove the selected text and leave just what you have typed. Like that. Okay, so there's a couple of basics with regards to adding text and to basically replacing text within a paragraph. The next thing I want to show you is something that even experienced users of Microsoft Word don't always know, and that's to do with aligning text. Now, by default, when you type in your Microsoft Word document, generally speaking, the style will be set up to left align the text. So if I type, the text is on the left hand side. If I press a couple of paragraph returns, so use the return key a couple of times, it keeps it on the left hand side. However, if I wanted my text to be in the center of the page, instead of trying to maybe move the text along or press the tab key a couple of times or spacebar, what I can actually do is just position the cursor in the center of the page and then double click, and you will see it now positions the cursor here, and I can type in the middle of the page. Now if I press the return key, it will keep the cursor positioned below that text in the middle of the page. The good news is you can also move across to the right hand side of the page, and you guessed it, the way we do that is just head to the right hand side and you will see the little paragraph formatting option next to the cursor has changed to right align. So it's just aligning the text on the right hand side here, and when I double click, I can now type on the right hand side. Like that. Now in any case, if you wanted to move this text back all the way across to the left hand side, the easiest way to do that is to position the cursor in the middle of the line of text or within the middle of the paragraph, and then simply use the formatting options at the top here. So for example, in this case, I'm going to use align to left and it will shift it back across, and I'll do the same for this one above, so they're all on the left hand side. If I wanted to move one of them or all of them to the center, then all I need to do is select and then move to the middle, or of course I can move to the right hand side. So if you are looking to position the text at a specific point on the page, just simply double click and you can have left, center or right aligned, but you can also change that using the formatting options up here. Another thing I wanted to cover in this tutorial is line spacing. So you'll see here we've got quite a good amount of spacing between each of these lines in this paragraph of text, and it means that we can read the text okay. But sometimes you might notice that, like for example here, the line spacing is really tight, and this is quite a condensed view, and to be honest, this is quite difficult to read. So this text here is actually still size 12 like this text, but it's just that the spacing between each line is considerably smaller. Now what you can do to adjust the spacing is you can position the cursor anywhere within the paragraph, and then you can head up to the ribbon and go into the line and paragraph spacing option, which is found within the home tab, and then you can adjust it in here. So we could make this, for example, 1.0, which will space it out much better than it is below like this. So remember, it does it per paragraph, so you don't need to select the paragraph like this, you just have to have the cursor in there. If I go up to line and paragraph spacing and make it 3.0, you'll see there's considerable spacing between these. So we might want to undo that and then perhaps go for 1.0 like the other one. Now sometimes it can be quite hard to work out if what you have adjusted is the same as other paragraphs in the document. But here you'll see all of the text is using this normal style. So what I can actually do is I can right click and go to select 35, so select all instances, and anytime in this Word document this normal style has been applied to text, which is basically most pieces of text apart from these headings, you can then go into the line and spacing and you can adjust it in here, and it will change it for that entire collection of text with that style. So I could do 1.15, and of course I'm not going to show you this in this video, but you can actually modify in here so that anytime from now on you're using this style, it will ensure that the spacing is 1.15. Another thing you can do is with your text, either a selected paragraph or click inside the paragraph, you can go up to the line and spacing and you can go into line spacing options, and then what this allows you to do is to do things like change the alignment for that particular paragraph. You can, for example, indent it. So I'm going to indent this by maybe 1.5 centimeters from the left, and then you'll see when I click OK, that particular paragraph has now been nudged in a little bit from the left margin by 1.5 centimeters, and I'll just quickly undo that. So within line and spacing there are quite a lot of other options here with regards to your paragraph of text, even down to things like having a space before and after. So after and before this paragraph I could have 18 points worth, and you'll see it's put quite a big space up here, and the same, even though this is split onto another page within the document, there is an extra space here above this particular piece of text. Let's take a look at different ways of selecting, copying, cutting and pasting text within your Microsoft Word document. First of all, let's take a look at different ways to select the text. So if, for example, you want to select a single word here, what usually happens is users will left click on the mouse and drag to select the word, and if they want to select more than one word, we might keep dragging until we eventually select, for example, a full sentence. So that's an easy way of selecting a word or a sentence. What you can also do though is you can locate the word you want to select, position the cursor inside it and then double click, or just simply double click on the word you want to select. If you want to select another word, let's say for example the the U here, then I can actually hold the Shift key, position the cursor at the end of U and click. And with a left click, it's now selected the other word. And if I keep that Shift key held, basically it's going to keep selecting until I remove the Shift key and then deselect. So holding the Shift key allows you to select more than one word or other characters within your Word document. Another way you can do it is if you want to select an entire paragraph or an entire line, you can triple click. So with 3 clicks there of the mouse, I've selected this whole line. Or if I go to this big paragraph here, click anywhere inside, 3 clicks, and we've selected the entire paragraph. A couple of other things that might be worth knowing is how to continuously select characters within a line of text. So for example, if I position the cursor at the beginning of this sentence here, then what I can do is I can hold the Option key on my keyboard, and you'll see if I use the arrow keys, I'm able to jump between words with the cursor. So I can jump between by holding the Option key, which is Alt for Windows users, and it lets me jump between different words. If I hold the Command key, then you'll see when I use the arrow keys, and the command is also Control if you're a Windows user, we can jump from the beginning to the end of a particular line of text. The other thing you can do though is if you just use the arrow keys, you obviously can move between different characters. But if you hold the Shift key when using those keyboard shortcuts, you can then start selecting text. So I'm just holding the Shift key and then pressing the arrows here, which is allowing me to select individual characters. If I then use Shift and Option or Alt, it then lets me select individual words, and I'm just using the arrow keys to go forwards and backwards here. And then if I use the Shift and Command key, you'll see it selects the entire sentence. And then if I press down, I can select the next paragraph as well. So those are a couple of useful things to know about making use of either the Option, Command and Shift keys, or the Alt, Control and Shift keys if you're a Windows user. Now I really hope you are finding this tutorial useful. If you are, please do hit that like button, and remember, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe to support the channel. Now let's get back to this tutorial. So now that we've had a look at how to select content within the Word document, let's take a look at how to copy, cut and paste the content. So copy basically just retains in the computer's memory the text that you have selected and copied. So if I select this text here and then use Command C or Control C on a Windows computer, or alternatively I can right click and copy, or I can use Edit up here and copy. This will basically keep it on this location on the document, and then when I paste it, it will paste it to the location where I've positioned the cursor, but it won't get rid of the original piece of text that I had copied. However, if I cut this piece of text using Command or Control X, it basically cuts it out of the document, but it keeps it in the memory and it allows me to paste it as well. So I can paste just now using Command and V, like that. However, you'll see it has removed it from up here. So copying will keep the original piece of text or object where it is, and it will allow you to paste it to another location, but cutting it will remove it from the original location and allow you to paste it to another location. Just one thing to bear in mind is if you copy a piece of text or an object and then close your document down, when you reopen the document, it won't have saved that in its memory, so you won't be able to paste. You'll need to go and recopy or bring the object back in if you need to. So that's a little bit about cutting and copying. So Command X to cut and Command C to copy. But if you want to paste, there's a couple of different options. You'll see here when I've pasted both of these pieces of text, they've basically just retained the formatting of the original piece of text. So for example, if I grab this piece of text, which has been specifically formatted for this document, if I use Command C to copy it, then position the cursor where I want it to go, so let's just say here, and then use Command V to paste, you'll see that it keeps the formatting the same. So it doesn't inherit the formatting of the text above it, it keeps its source formatting. However, what you might notice is up here where we've got this paste button, there are other options within this down pointing arrow called the paste options. And in here you can match the formatting for your document, you can paste it as a picture, or you can keep the text only, which will essentially strip all of the formatting out. So you'll see you can also right click and use paste special here, which is going to give you the same options just in a different format. So this time, instead of using Command V like this and just keeping the source formatting, I'm going to go up to paste, I'm going to use a down pointing arrow, and I'm going to go for keep text only, and you will see it's basically stripped out all the formatting and will put in the text just like this. Now within a document like this, there's not always too much of a difference between when you copy text like this and then if you use, for example, the keep text or the keep source formatting, because they basically were the same in the first place. But if you're bringing text in from the internet or from another document which has got a completely different font or a different style, then if you want to match the formatting of your document, then you might want to think about using this match formatting option. But if you're wanting to basically just bring it in with absolutely no styling applied to it, and then you can reapply another styling from in your document, then you can use this keep text only. The final one I've not covered, which I'll show you, is you can select your text. I'll make a little copy of this, and then if I come down to a new line, if I want to go to paste, I can paste as a picture, and then basically, whilst this looks like a normal piece of text, it has actually pasted it as an image which I can resize and make bigger and smaller. So it's basically a JPEG here. So I can't go in and change the text, but I can move it as I would move a normal image. And I'll just delete that for now. One last little tip, if you're wanting to maybe move some text within your document, let's say for example this paragraph, you can actually select the piece of text and then you can click and drag to another location within your document. So if I scroll down, let's say I want to drop this text down here, all I do is position the cursor roughly where I want it, release, and you'll see it has dropped the text. Now it won't always manage to put it exactly in, and I think that's probably because, as you can see, there's a page break there. So if I bring that down a little bit and then grab this text and drag it up, that will now allow me to position it in there. But that's a really nice way of being able to take a chunk of text and quickly move it around your document, rather than using Command X or Control X to cut it and then finding the location to paste it. You can just drag and drop. A really handy little tool in Microsoft Word is the Find tool. It allows you to basically quickly search your entire document for a specific word or a specific piece of text or a sentence, and it will find either individual or multiple instances of that word or sentence or name throughout your entire document. So let's say, for example, I had used a name in this document repeatedly, and then I decided I needed to change the person's name within the document. If I've used it maybe 100 times in the document, if I've got to manually find that, it's going to take me a long time. And then in each occasion I need to replace that name. However, the Find and the Find and Replace tools are incredibly useful and can save you an awful lot of time. So let me illustrate this for you. First of all, to open up the Find tool, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can use Command and F together, which, as you see, brings you up to the search icon up here where you can type in the search term. You can also go to the Edit tab and then down to Find, and you can use Find in here, or if you're looking to find and replace, you can use Replace, or of course you can just type in here. You can click on the little search icon and type your word in. So for example, if I type the word you, because I know it's been used a lot in this document, you'll see it begins to highlight in yellow every single word or occasion I've used the word you. But it also picks out words like your, because YOU are in your as well. So what you can do is you can use these arrows to move through all of the different selected words, so you can go forward and back. But you can also click on the down pointing arrow next to the little magnifying glass, and then what you can do is choose List Matches in Sidebar. That will then open up a sidebar, which basically when you click Find will show all of the different matches in here. Now if you click on this little search icon here, you'll see that in this case it says ignore case. If I turn this one off though, and then if for example I put a capital Y-O-U, you'll see it's now going to only show me the word you where it has a capital Y, whereas before there were, let's have a look, 302 instances, whereas now with a capital Y and using ignore case there are only 27. And now what I can do is I can click through these and it will jump to the specific points within the text where that word or name or whatnot has been positioned. Another option though is find and replace. So we've just looked at finding words, but you can actually replace the words that you have found with other words. And this is perfect if you need to change a name over or a place or an acronym. So let's say for example, I'm going to look in here for 2-minute tech tutorials. Okay, so I've used that a few times in this. I'm actually just going to put ignore case on because I know I've put it in capital letters, so it's going to pick it up. And you'll see on 7 occasions within this document I have typed TMTT, but I want to actually replace that with the full words 2-minute tech tutorials. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click inside this second box and I'm going to type that as I want it to appear. So 2-minute tech tutorials. And now what I can do is with this typed in this box, I can click on any of the individual instances and use the replace button to replace that specific instance. Or if I want to run my entire document and replace all instances of TMTT with 2-minute tech tutorials, all I need to do is now press replace all and it will replace all 6 of those instances. So now if I just run a little search for this instead, you will see that throughout my document where I had typed 2-minute tech tutorials, it has now replaced it in here. The only downside is it has maintained the formatting it originally had, which was all in capital letters. So what I can do is I can go into the settings here, then go down to advanced find and replace. I'm going to go along to replace, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in match case, and what that's going to do is it's going to match the case here that I've typed in. So I'm now going to go replace all, and then when I click OK and then close this down, you will see that the case is correct here, so 2-minute tech tutorials. And then if I just run another search in here, you'll see if I turn off ignore case, then the casing is correct. So as you can see, the find and replace tool is really useful and can save you an awful lot of time having to locate keywords within your document and replacing them. So there you go, a really short course introducing you to the basics of editing text within Microsoft Word. Hopefully you have enjoyed this tutorial and it's given you increased confidence in using Microsoft Word. If you have, remember to hit that like button, and as I mentioned earlier, if you've not already subscribed, I would love it if you could subscribe to support the channel. But thanks again for watching.